put not shellac,
Varnish.
varnish.
Right. You start with magnet wire. Are you using magnet wire?
Well, as a matter of fact, no, but that's all the same.
If you don't use magnet wire, it's not going to work.
What?
Well, because the turns will be shorted to each other.
Oh, no, no, no.
This is magnet wire.
Yeah,
And on top of it,
yeah. Yeah,
see that there's a
Yeah.
varnish coating on it.
yeah, yeah. Well, that,
And that varnish coating insulates
yeah.
the coils one turn from the next.
Well, yes, but I'm not wound tight. I'm wound tight.
If the
That's-
wires touch each other, they will short, and you won't
Yes,
get that flow of
yeah,
electricity.
but I'm not wound tight. I'm spaced. I used oxygen hose to space it. What, 6 gauge? 6 gauge. Anyway, do you sell that? Do you have that? Do you sell it? What is?
You can buy this magnet wire Radio Shack.
No, I'm looking for the varnish, shellac, whatever it is,
Oh, the varnish?
to hold it in place.
Right, we buy from Sparks Electric.
Sparks
They're
Electric.
over on Marietta Way.
And how big a unit do you have to buy?
You're probably just gonna have to go in there and try to buy like a gallon jug or something from them. Maybe take your own jug, because they have big vats.
Oh, they have big vats. Maybe I'll
Yes.
take my my coffee cup.
Right.
Okay.
No more than that.
Sparks Electric.
Yes, sir,
Where
Sparks
are they at?
They're over on Marietta Way.
Marietta. Okay, that's where you want Sam's Club card. You want the
Sam's Club isn't gonna do me any good. Alright.
No, I wanted the air cooling. I wanted the space between the coils to cool.
Well, how many amps are you pushing through it?
Whatever, a couple of car batteries. I don't know. I didn't even know what the amperage is on the car batteries because they're not brand new.
They'll push between 5 and 800 amps.
Yeah, yeah. That's serious.
Is that gonna be adequate for what you need?
I sure hope so. Nothing is certain, absolutely carved in stone at my house, but,
So how do you know if it's working?
well, if it doesn't, then I'll go to 3 batteries or 4 batteries. We'll get
What's it gonna do to let you know if it's working or not? How will you know the difference?
a magnet will spin, a compass will spin.
It won't spin, it'll just align to the magnetic pole.
What?
It'll just align to the magnetic field of the coil. It won't spin. Unless you...
Yeah, well, if this motor controller works, it will. You betcha it will.
Am I supposed to just go pour some water and then some of those chips on there?
Why?
It's not smoking, it's just heat.
Yeah, it should be over 120 or so. If it is, you need to open the door and crack it a little bit.
Yeah, but nobody's been checking it, so it's not smoking, it's just heat.
Just, yeah, still a handful of chips in there. Make
With,
sure you,
with the water.
yeah, try not to put the flame out.
Source for electric motors and gear.
So what is this contraption gonna be? What's it gonna do?
What does it do?
Yes, sir.
No, it's gonna make the cells in the human body spin 10 times as fast as they do now.
And what would the ramifications of that be?
Well, the fourth dimension.
Which does what? I don't
Well,
understand
I
what
think
that-
it's prophesied in the big book. The big book. It's prophesied.
About the fourth dimension?
Well, they don't call it that. That's the modern term. Back in those times, they just talked about heaven. I was just over to Sam's Club, and they got a book on Marilyn Monroe. Wow, that gal looked like heaven right there, on earth.
Yeah.
But I said, hey, wait till your cells spin properly.
And then you're transferred to the fourth dimension, or the fourth dimension is transferred to here?
Well, it works both ways. It works 2 ways. it has to be done by humans first. Then our extraterrestrial relatives, that's the good word, they come along and they do the whole thing. They do the whole ball of wax. I don't know how, they say it doesn't take minutes, but it'll take them, well, anyway, they're gonna do it. But it has to be done by somebody here. You can't, they're not gonna do it until after we have the technology or know what the hell we're doing.
And what exactly are they doing? What will they do?
I didn't hear your question.
What will they do? What is?
Oh, well, they have these fields that spin, so they set us up this way. They set us up. They put us here. But the spaceship Phoenix crashed into the Carson Sink at greater than the speed of light. They were exceeding the speed of light when they crashed into the Carson Sink. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Oh, I wish that little dinky knob was about 6 inches in diameter, because you just can't control it within a.
And so, are you familiar with these? Putting these in?
Yeah, it just plugs in right there.
There's 2 of them. One goes on.
One side, one goes on the other side. Okay?
So we size that for 1 horsepower. So
Okay.
if you get there and you find a different horsepower, let us know, because I've got more of these in stock.
Okay.
More of those little plug-in things.
Okay. Well,
So the 4th dimension is what we call heaven.
that's right. You got that right.
Okay, your total with tax and freight came to $280.07.
Take these, or you want to check?
Sure do. No, we'll take a
That
visa.
goes right into your bank account.
Yes, sir.
Oh, boy.
Gary, the bucket's gone. Just throw some of these in there with the water. A little bit of water. Put the water in the pan underneath or what?
Put some water in the pan.
I mean, I don't know. I don't want to screw it up.
What's he got? Dog biscuits? Efficiency. Perfect.
So that back.
Yeah.
And then, have you sign this for me. So when you get this machine working, you come over and show us.
Yeah, everybody wants to see it. Yeah. I gotta get patented though. I figured out how gravity works, and I just, I figured this is the most worthless. I wrote a paper called "The Test of Electromagnetic Gravity," and what you do is you make antimatter. You make antimatter. So I knew that, but I didn't write that on the bottom. I said, don't do this test without the writer of this paper. I take it to Sunnyvale and I give it to Lockheed Missile and Space Company. They said, well, we'll have to look at this. We'll get in touch with you. And they haven't gotten it done. That's 52 years ago, over 52 years ago. And so right away they started, people started following me, And where I was living, the neighbor's house, they made a listening station in the basement of the neighbor's house. Had a little, we had a basement too, but anyway, so they started doing all this shit, you know. But they thought they had the real deal. They thought, because they made this thing that would lift up and fly away. Serious, this is Scout's honor. I'm telling you the damn truth. But when you make antimatter, that's the greatest engine of death there is, ever was or will be, you know. Anyway, so they started making it just like a bunch of ignoramuses, you know. They let it fly off, and of course, one thing fell on the railroad tracks up in Bird Eye. You know, here's the newspaper, you know. Flaming object falls on railroad tracks in south of Bird, south of Bird Eye, blah blah blah, on the railroad tracks, you know. But a couple of college boys went out there to, you know, see. Anyway, but another here and there. Finally, they let one go out of Aberdeen Proving Grounds, and there was a 707 in a holding pattern that had returned from Haiti or someplace down in the Caribbean. And this thing was attracted to, they had a whole bunch of congressmen, and Gerald Ford was obviously in the crowd. And this thing taken off and flew away, but it was attracted to the 707. It skittered in across the top of the wing, burned a hole through the stress plate on the top of the wing, and ignited the fuel, and the wing blew up. You know, the wing delaminated, and so the thing crashed, killed 87 people. This was about less than 6 months. It was probably 3 months after I made this disclosure. So these idiots have been 52 years doing everything they could to screw me over. You're serious, Scout's honor, you know, Scout's honor. Anyway, TWA Flight 800 was, when they fueled it for the trip to Paris, they put all the fuel in one wing. So they were, you know, heavy on one side. So they were transferring fuel as they climbed out. You know, TWA Flight 800, well, when you transfer fuel, you vent. You have to take air into the wing you're taking the fuel out of. It goes into the center wing tank. The fuel does, and then as it goes into the other wing, that vents back to the center wing tank, the wing that the fuel is going into, and it vents overboard from the center wing tank. Well, it found, this fuel train found a cloud of antimatter particles. They glow. They're particles, they glow, and it's just like a white cloud. Anyway, but it ignited that fuel train, and the fire flew up to the 707 just like a missile. You know, it was explosive and shooting up to the 747, and it went through the venting system into the center wing tank and blew up. So that's murder. You know, that's murder. They didn't. I would have never let them do, you know, make these things and release them and let them, you know, exude particles of antimatter. Anyway, so now they've committed murder, and so there's a big thing going on in the news about the investigators of TWA Flight 800. They were told by the FBI, you will put this and this and this into your report, you know, and they knew that wasn't so. They knew, but they had to do it. So now they've all retired from the FAA or whatever, right. And so now they're getting together 7 investigators and saying TWA Flight 800 was murder. And so I have to look behind me every once in a while. Anyway, so
That's strange.
but you'll hear it.
Yeah.
You'll. One of these days I'll be on TV, maybe. Thanks.
All right, thanks, sir.